So we have to get more people vaccinated. I said, well over, what's the number again? I remind myself, 350 million Americans have already been vaccinated.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Political Memes, Cringe, Laugh, or Cry, with the Boltonator. Today we're going to go over a lot more of these political memes, a couple of little videos, and the current situation with our lovely, so cognizant president, what was it? You know, the thing? Oh, yeah, Biden, and the situation he's left in Afghanistan. But before we get to all that, if you haven't subscribed, please go down there and hit that subscribe and let me know in the comments that you did. And if you want to support this page further, you can do so on Patreon, Facebook, and Rumble. So, without any further ado, let's get rolling with the political memes. What is your opinion of Roe versus Wade? Well, those are the only two ways for immigrants to get across the river. Those damn extremists! Alright, people, here's how it cracks down on this whole mask thing. I'm over people acting like everyone with a mask is a sheep, and everyone without a mask is selfish. You need to realize it's all psychological warfare, to divide us. Do what you think is comfortable, do what you think is right, and just don't hate the people that disagree with you, alright? Let's move on with this bull crap.
What must be what?
I walked in on Hunter and his friends vaccinating themselves. This is the unity we need. It's the unity we need. I just want to say one thing about coronavirus. This is the longest something made in China has ever lasted. And he ain't lying. Trump loves minors. Biden loves minors. Oh my God, that's sad. Hi, neighbor. Did you hear that the CDC is now recommending?
What must be what?
Democrats left Texas with a case of Miller Lite and came back with 6 cases of Corona. You know, I don't even know if they've all made it back yet because they're going to arrest their ass. They screwed up so bad. It's going to be an enlightening journey. Imagine, if you will, a world where Nancy Pelosi's hair salon has better video surveillance than Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell. If we're closing everything again, can we start with the southern border? Now, I don't usually like to get too wrapped up in the political spectrum because it's pretty much a crap show in Satan's skillet most of the time. Politicians are branded and justified as being pretty much liars. It's one of the things I loved about Trump. He's shut from the cuff and he wasn't a career politician. But with all this crap that's going on in Afghanistan right now, I think we should take a little look at a partial video of Mr. Joe Biden and his interview on how he could have done better with the pullout of Afghanistan. So let's roll that.
When you look at what's happened over the last week, was it a failure of intelligence, planning, execution, or judgment?
Look, I don't think it was a fair. Look, it was a simple choice, George. When the Taliban, let me put it another way. When you had the government of Afghanistan the leader of that government getting in a plane and taking off and going to another country. When you saw the significant collapse of the Afghan troops we had trained, up to 300,000 of them, just leaving their equipment and taking off. That was, that's what happened. That's simply what happened.
But we've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures?
What I thought was we have to gain control of this. We have to move this more quickly. We have to move in a way in which we can take control of that airport. And we did.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
I'm sorry, did that not seem like backtracking, babbling, cover my ass crap? Yes, it did to me. So, on that note, let's go to a little interview between Hannity and President Trump and see what that man has to say on the matter.
Well, it's good to be with you, Sean, but it's a terrible time for our country. I don't think in all of the years our country has ever been so humiliated. I don't know, would you call it a military defeat or a psychological defeat? There's never been anything like what's happened here. You can go back to Jimmy Carter with the hostages. We all thought that was a great embarrassment, and we were pulled out of that by Ronald Reagan. This is many, many times worse, and you're dealing with thousands and thousands of Americans and others that are stranded and very dangerously, really stranded in Afghanistan. So it's something that you can't even believe that a thing like this could. I looked at that big monster cargo plane yesterday with people grabbing the side and trying to get flown out of Afghanistan because of their fear, their incredible fear, and they're blowing off the plane from 2,000 feet up in the air.
Now that's funny because that's the segment where our former Vice President Biden was like, come on, man, that was like 4 or 5 days ago. Like it's old news and it's not worth talking about. All right, we'll get back to it. I just had to put my 2 cents in right there.
Yeah. It's nobody's ever seen anything like that. That blows the helicopters in Vietnam away. That's not even a contest. This has been the most humiliating period of time I've ever seen. Yeah, we had a great deal. We worked on it very hard. Mike Pompeo, a brilliant guy, and many others worked on it endlessly. Meetings with the Taliban. Of course, you have to meet with the Taliban. They're the ones that you're negotiating with. I spoke on numerous occasions to the head of the Taliban, and we had a very strong conversation. I told him up front, I said, look, before we start, let me just tell you right now that if anything bad happens to Americans or anybody else, or if you ever come over to our land, we will hit you with a force that no country has ever been hit with before. A force so great that you won't even believe it. And your village, and we know where it is, and I named it, will be the first one.
Mr. President, I want to interrupt.
Dropped right there.
Who did you said
To
who?
To Mullah Baradar, who is probably the top person. Now, nobody really knows who the top person is, but I would say that's probably the top person, and it seems to be, that's the way it's rolling right now. But I had a very strong conversation. I also had a good conversation with him. We talked for a while after that. That was the primary point I was making, and he understood it. And I asked him, do you understand? He said, yes, I do understand. And I wanted them to get a deal done with the Afghan government. Now, I never had a lot of confidence, frankly, in Ghani. I said that openly and plainly. I thought he was a total crook. I thought he got away with murder. He spent all his time whining and dining our senators. I mean, the senators were in his pocket. That was one of the problems that we had, but I never liked him, and I guess based on his escape with cash. I don't know, maybe that's a true story. I would suspect it is. All you have to do is look at his lifestyle, study his houses where he lives. He got away with murder in many different ways. But I had a very, very strong talk with the Taliban, which I consider to be much more important in this sense because they were the problem. And they've been there for a long time, and they're good fighters, and they fight hard. And after I said that, we had a pretty good conversation. Now, I have to tell you that if you remember when they were coming to Washington to meet with me, they decided to kill an American soldier because they thought that was a good way to negotiate. And I canceled the trip. And we had a conditions-based agreement. And if you remember, it said May 1st, we want to get out because we have to get out. I've listened to people on your show and other shows say we should stay. They don't know. We were spending $42 billion a year. $42 billion. Think of it, $42 billion. I understand Russia spends $50 billion a year for their entire military. We were spending $42 billion, not 1%. They were saying 1%. That's a lot of nonsense. We're spending $42 billion a year on defending this for years and years. We've been there really now, not 20 years, but 21 and a half years. And we get nothing out of any of these things that we do, whether it's them or many other countries I could tell you about. I'm not going to insult anybody right now. But to spend that kind of money and then to have people get on shows and say how inexpensive it was. And I have to tell you also that we lost no soldiers in the last year and a half because of me and because of the understanding that we had. We lost no, think of that. In Chicago and in New York and in other cities in the United States, many people die every weekend. We lost no soldiers in Afghanistan because they knew I wasn't going to put up with it. And that's what happened. So we had a very strong conversation.
All right, now, y'all people, you can hate me if you want, but I'm pretty sure if that man was still in office, this crap would not have gone down like this. He was solid and true to this country, and everybody got so upset because, oh, Orange Man, mean tweets. Oh, yeah, and I agree. He should have got his ass off Twitter while he was in office because that is pretty much his only downfall. But after all this, let's get back to a couple little more humorous memes, and let's keep it rolling. This is awesome. Someone hacked the electronic billboard system in Wilmington, North Carolina. And they put that up there, and that's so right. His ass was sitting there eating ice cream, watching all this shit unfold, going, did I do that? All right, we're going to wrap it up for this time in the shitstorm of political nature. And I hope you either learned or enjoyed from this last video. I know I went off track and put a lot of serious crap in there. But with all that's going on in Afghanistan, man, I just can't believe that we're putting up with this crap. So, for the time, for the day, for the night, this is the Boltonator, signing off.
What must be what?